some bad people are still out there. And they don't like you because you're different.
Touch of Iron Man, a dash of a Canadian comic book creator, a boy with antlers growing out of his head. Those are some of the ingredients for a new post-apocalyptic series called Sweet Tooth. The first season out now on Netflix. Eli is here to tell us about it because our binge watching continues. Good morning, Eli.
Good morning. Good morning.
What is the story of Sweet Tooth?
So it starts with this Canadian comic book creator named Jeff Lemire, based in Toronto. And over a decade ago, Jeff is about to become a dad. Because Jeff is Jeff, Jeff starts thinking about dystopia. And Jeff starts thinking about this adventure that this strange boy is on in a world that is very different, but somewhat similar in some other ways. Let's take a look at Jeff himself.
I first published Sweet Tooth in 2009. It's about a boy named Gus who's half deer, half human, and he's part of a new race of animal-human hybrid children that are being born in the wake of a pandemic. He soon befriends a big drifter named Jeopard.
Take me!
Yeah. Jeff is this amazing storyteller, and his books are dark and disturbing and exciting and twisted, but something about that image of Gus, that boy with the horns, is so striking, and that's exactly what captured the attention and the imagination of Iron Man himself. Robert Downey Jr. and his wife, Susan Downey, they are a producing power couple, and they were looking for a project, and they discovered Sweet Tooth. And something about this boy with the antlers, this sense of innocence and hope that he had, really spoke to them. So they actually shot a pilot in 2019. Now, here's where it gets interesting, Heather. When Lemire had been asked in interviews, where does this world take place? He would always say in the near future, 10 years from now, this could happen. Well, that was in 2009. Jump ahead to 2020. Cameras are about to start rolling on the series Sweet Tooth in New Zealand, just as the world is battling a very real virus.
So did that all play into the story they were telling, Eli?
It did in so many ways. Like, just visually speaking, you can tell this is a series informed by what we've experienced. You see the masks littered everywhere. You see dusty physical distancing signs. This is a sign of a world that has been through, in some ways, what we're going through. But what's interesting is what the showrunners, what the producers decided to really double down on was that thing that captured the Downeys' attention, that sense of hope. They didn't want this to be too dark, too depressing. This is an Earth that has been ravaged. We see empty cities, overgrown highways. But visually, there's this brightness, almost a fairy tale quality. And it all starts, like any good fairy tales, in a forest, with a father explaining to his son how the world worked. Let's take a look.
Bad people ruled the earth. They were greedy and self-destructive. So nature made everyone sick.
Excuse me, are you a doctor?
And then a miracle happened.
Might recognize the voice of Will Forte. He plays the father. The miracle is the arrival of Gus, half human, half deer. He has those antlers. Even his ears twitch when he's scared. Now, the hybrids came along the same time as the pandemic, so a lot of people blame them for what's happening. The first episode has Forte as the father really struggling to shelter his son, to prepare him, to help him survive. His nickname is Sweet Tooth because he loves maple syrup, and he's trying to find the balance between getting him prepared and also not frightening him for what's really happening outside. Now, I know what I've described sounds in some ways a little horrific, but that's because I don't think you really appreciate the actor who plays little Gus. Christian Convery is the spitting image of a young Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense, and he has that same sense of wonder and curiosity. He's actually a young actor from Vancouver. Now, that sense of wonder is very quickly tested because the show starts to broaden its world. Sweet Tooth runs into an ex-football player turned scavenger named Tommy. Tommy isn't looking for friends. Take a look.
If you go out there alone, they'll have your head by morning.
I'm not alone. I got you.
Guys like me aren't good for kids like you.
How do you know? Most people hate kids like me.
Rusty. The last men have made it their mission to eliminate hybrids.
So we got evil villain, scary-looking military man. There's the big man, as they call him, Tommy, played by Anansi. You might recognize him from Game of Thrones or the live-action movie version of Cinderella. And it's a great pairing, this younger boy and this big guy kind of setting out on the road together.
Okay. As you say, an apocalyptic adventure, dark, depressing, dystopian, you said. I don't want to be contrarian, but I'm looking for puppies at this time. I don't know that this is what I'm looking for. Maybe others feel the same way. Could this darkness keep audiences away?
It could. But I think what people will very quickly realize if you give this show a chance is that if anything, it's about a brightness. It is about a sense of hope. It is about kind of a sense of renewal and rebirth. There is, as I said, this kind of fairy tale aspect to this show. Talking animals, this mysterious quest, even the quality of the light, the colors, the greenery. This isn't the grim dystopia of The Road or Children of Men. It's something else. And it also expands on Jeff Lemire's original vision. There's a parallel plot with Dr. Singh and his wife working to keep this suburban enclave alive. Now, the paranoia around his wife's symptoms and the vigilance around the virus, yes, that's a little too real. But the British actor, Adil Akhtar, who plays the doctor, has this amazing face that was just made for anguish. I could talk about Gus's performance. I could talk about the grumpy guardianship of Tommy. But what kept me clicking through this new series on Netflix is the ambition. It has so much to say, a big world to explore. And Heather, in the end, I think Sweet Tooth is kind of the perfect title because certainly there is a sweetness, but it does have a bite. 4 stars out of 5.
4 stars. Okay, I'll be open. Give it a chance. Eli, thank you. And listen, if you have time, because you're always busy on Fridays, will you come back next hour? We're getting set for Juno weekend, 50th year of the Junos on Sunday, and I'd love to hear some of your expectations for the show. Okay?